Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from BAEST Justitia, out May 27th on Century Media Records. This EP has 6 tracks, 33 minutes in length, and this is their follow-up release to their full-length album, Necrosapiens. They are a Danish death metal band and one of the best when it comes to this new wave of death metal. Now this EP offers 4 brand new songs with 2 different guest vocalists, a cover of Entombed A.D, and it finishes off with an instrumental track. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. But the most important elements of this release is that it ties the past with the future. If you think about this EP the same way you would think about a Marvel movie, that after the credits there's always a little bit of a cliffhanger that ties the storyline of the movie that you just watched with what's going to happen in the next movie. This EP is a little bit of that cliffhanger. It ties itself to Necrosapiens. It feels like what comes after the credits in Necrosapiens, so there's that connection to the past, but at the same time it also connects with what the next full-length album is going to sound like, it's going to feel like. So it's really a link between 2 worlds, the past and the future, and because of that it feels a lot more impactful, it feels a lot more important. It's not just a regular EP, it plays a pivotal role in terms of how they're going to move forward from Necrosapiens into the next full-length record. Now as far as the 6 songs on this EP, it starts off with the title track Justitia featuring Sven from Aborted on vocals. It's a song that sounds epic. I don't think they could have started with any other track. It feels cinematic in nature. It's just a larger than life sounding song. And just because it has a large footprint, just because it has a lot of volume and it sounds big, it sounds epic, it sounds cinematic, that doesn't mean it loses anything as far as brutality, heaviness, or aggression, because it has all of it. It's just an absolute demolishing track. The sound that it has, the power that it has, how it combines all the different elements, it just feels out of this world. Great riffing on this track. The drums are phenomenal. The drums really catapult you forward at any given time within this song, allowing you to really feel the presence, the brunt of their force. Having 2 vocalists on this track adds a very interesting dynamic. It makes the song feel more layered, it makes the song feel more texture. It also adds not just to the power that the sound has, but it definitely adds to that cinematic value that the song holds. So every single element that you see within this track really plays towards that cinematic feel, that cinematic mood, atmosphere that the track has from start all the way to the end. Next you have Ecclesia, a more melodic, methodic track. The drums are still very important in terms of how this song moves, because they have an insane amount of power, an insane amount of force, absolutely destroying everything in its path, giving momentum to the song, allowing the guitars not to drive the track necessarily, but concentrate more on the melodic approach and concentrate more on what the melody is doing to the overall feel, to the overall mood of the track, and just relying on the drums to really push you forward minute in and minute out as you're progressing through the entire track. Has great guitar riffs, has great melodies. It has a very dynamic approach as far as the guitars is concerned, really merging 2 different worlds, bringing in some heaviness at times, then bringing in some melody, allowing these 2 worlds to coexist perfectly throughout the entire track. You never feel like the worlds are colliding. You just feel like you're moving very smoothly from the more melodic portions of the song to the more heavier portions of the song. The drums tend to stay a little bit more balanced. The vocals tend to stay a little bit more balanced. The guitars are the ones creating the ebbs and flows from start to finish, allowing you to feel the full spectrum, the full brunt of their force, of their power, of their drive, of their energy. It has a great solo section in it that adds value to the way the overall song feels. It's a song that still feels very raw, that has a raw energy to it, and then it closes down perfectly. The solo section leads you to the closing. It doesn't close on the solo, but it really leads you into the solo and allows you to feel a little bit more complete in terms of how everything comes together. Next you have Gargoyles featuring Trevor of Black Dahlia Murder, a very interesting track that starts with acoustic guitars. I'm not a huge fan of these acoustic guitars at the start. Perhaps if the song had finished with the same acoustic guitars, things would feel a little bit more complete. So having this acoustic guitar at the beginning, it's an interesting intro, but it's an intro that I didn't feel like it progressed into something substantial within the song itself. It has great sound, it has great drive, very heavy, very powerful. Once again, having two different vocalists that offer different dynamics, making the song feel a lot more alive, having a lot more texture, having a lot more substance within it, adding vocal substance to the already substance that exists within the sound. The brutality of the overall track is undeniable. Once you get off of that intro, the song stays very consistent in the pocket with the brutality that it has. And then that Slayer-esque riff that exists within this song really brings a somber mood to the way the track feels, to the way the track comes across. Next we have Creature, and this is a brutal track from start to finish. It's an absolute avalanche of sound when it comes to drums, guitars, and then the vocals riding that avalanche, pushing you forward, feeling like it's always in your face. Now, sometimes it walks a little bit back, sometimes it walks a little bit forward, but the momentum that it has is undeniable. It just doesn't keep the same constant momentum from start to finish. It changes gears, it changes speeds, allows the song not to be repetitive from that perspective, because you have different angles of where it's coming from, and sometimes it gets a little bit closer, sometimes it moves a little bit further. Really important. If you're not going to create ebbs and flows throughout the entire track, changing the perception of where the track is versus where you are creates a different style of ebb and flow. It moves the song laterally, not necessarily up and down, so it still gives movement, it still makes the song feel very dynamic from that perspective. It's a track that has great guitars. The guitars really stand out in this song in terms of what they offer. Contagious riffing throughout the entire track. A lot of substance in that guitar sound as well. Some chunkiness in that guitar sound. The solo section is one of the best of the entire EP. It absolutely explodes. It adds so much energy to the track. It brings in so much light. It brings in so much brightness into how the song can be perceived and how the song comes together. It makes the overall track 10 times bigger and better just because of where the solo is and how the solo section sounds. Phenomenal interpretation of what the song needed at the right time in order to really elevate this track and not just make it another brutal song that stays brutally consistent from start to finish, with the vocals adding a lot of glue and a lot of balance to the overall design, to the overall structure. Next comes second to none, the Entombed A.D. cover. This is a great cover for many reasons. One of them is that this is definitely a band that played a role in motivating and inspiring BAEST to become a death metal band. You see that in their sound, and when they covered this song, they made it a little bit of their own, but still keeping it very close, very traditional in terms of what the original was all about. So I like this cover because of that. It allows you to see where they started off as fans, and now they're able to play homage, tribute to an incredible band that influenced so many death metal bands, including themselves. Then it finishes off with Genesis, instrumental version of Genesis. To me, is the perfect ending. Is a perfect ending to a little bit of a roller coaster of a release. This album offers songs that have a lot of different perspectives. The first four really tie in with Necrosapiens, and I believe they're really going to be tying in with what the next full-length album is all about. The cover is more of a tribute, but then this song really feels like the credits rolling, the curtains coming down. It's the perfect way to end on a very nice note, on a very musical note, this release. So I like how it's structured, I like how it's put together, and I like that the blunt force and the connection between the past and the future exists within the first four tracks, and then after that you're pretty much getting the bonus material. This is it, BAEST with Justitia, out May 27th on Century Media Records. Let me know your thoughts on the EP, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.